With China threatening countermeasures, the president of Taiwan is arriving in New York today, eventually making her way to Los Angeles in a meeting with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Now, Tsai Ing-wen is looking for support from allies here in the U.S., even as China comes ever closer to asserting control over the self-governing island that it considers part of the communist nation. The meeting between McCarthy and Tsai is set in Los Angeles on April 5th. That's next week. China slams the pending meeting between the two political leaders as another provocation that would sabotage peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. For the latest on the story, let's check in with correspondent Sarah Williamson. Sarah.
Good afternoon, Bob. Well, as the Taiwanese president takes off this morning, China is warning that it will take resolute countermeasures if House Speaker Kevin McCarthy did meet with President Tsai Ing-wen today as she passes through New York and California on her way to Central America. Now, a spokesperson for China's Taiwan Affairs Office says that the U.S. should refrain from arranging Tsai Ing-wen's visits, and even if she comes in any contact with American officials, they will just be disputing it. Now, the office is asking the U.S. to fulfill what they're calling its solemn commitment not to support Taiwan's independence, and that if Tsai meets with McCarthy, it will be another provocation violating the One China policy. Tsai is embarking on that 10-day trip to Guatemala and Belize this week and is expected to meet with McCarthy whilst she is in California. Before she took off today on her flight to New York, Tsai had this to say to the media.
Taiwan's determination to go global will only grow stronger. Taiwan is the world's Taiwan. Leading Taiwan to the world and bringing the world into Taiwan is an important goal of our administration.
Now, Beijing conducted large-scale military exercises around the self-governing island when former Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan last August, despite those multiple threats from the communist regime to do so. But it claims that the self-governing island of Taiwan is actually part of Chinese territory and threatens that they will be bringing the island under its control by force if they have to. Now, Taiwan's armed forces have said that they are keeping a watch for any Chinese moves when Tsai is abroad, and we were keeping a close eye on that meeting with Tsai and McCarthy if it does go ahead. Bob and Katrina.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Joining us right now to discuss, Senior Fellow for America First Policy Institute, Fred Fleitz. Fred, assuming there is a meeting, I believe it's next Wednesday, with McCarthy, do you think China will do something, and if so, what?
First of all, Bob, there has to be a meeting. No other country can tell our officials who they can meet with. Giving in to these threats and bullying would simply be another sign of American weakness, and we've had quite enough of that under this president. I think there may be some type of retaliation, maybe some increased harassment of Taiwan. And I got to tell you that I think China may have been emboldened to do this because McCarthy called off, or at least postponed, his trip to Taiwan. He didn't call it off. He postponed it. Maybe Beijing thinks that they can continue to bully McCarthy and he won't meet with Tsai at all. Well, that's not going to happen.
So where do we stand now with Taiwan and with China? What's your read right now for where we stand? Putting it in perspective, we've got China's leader meeting with Putin. We have more aggressive activities going on in that theater around China, in the seas around there. We're trying to assert ourselves where? In the Philippines? I think we're trying to have more of a presence toward Australia, New Zealand. Where is this going, Fred?
Well, there's no question that U.S.-Chinese relations are much worse right now than they were 2 years ago. I think that's because of the weakness of this administration. But I think some other things are going on right now. President Xi recently told a meeting of the Chinese Congress to prepare for war. And there's been a 7% increase in the Chinese military budget over the last year. There's been many more provocations. In one way, it looks like Xi is trying to demonstrate China as a more powerful and influential country. But definitely there are signs that they're looking for aggression. They're looking for a fight. And I'm a little worried that they may be preparing for an invasion of Taiwan.
Okay, Fred Fleitz, thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be talking about it more in the coming days. Thank you, sir.
Good to be here.